The execution did not happen in a courtroom. There was no trial, no formal charges. It happened at a birthday party. A ruler made a promise in front of his guests, and a young girl made a request. And a man in a prison cell lost his head, not because of a crime, but because a king did not want to look weak. This is the execution of John the Baptist, and you're watching A Veil of Crime. In the early 1st century, the region of Galilee was ruled by Herod Antipas, a client ruler under the authority of Rome. He was not a king in the traditional sense. He ruled at Rome's pleasure. His power depended on political stability, public image, and Roman approval. And that image was beginning to crack. Herod had taken a new wife, Herodias. But this was no ordinary marriage. Herodias had previously been married to Herod's own brother. By the standards of Jewish law, the union was widely considered unlawful. One man spoke publicly against it. That man was John the Baptist. John was not a minor figure. He was a widely known preacher, drawing crowds along the Jordan River. He spoke of repentance, of judgment, of a coming kingdom, and he spoke directly against Herod's marriage. Herod had John arrested. The Gospels record that this was done because of Herodias' anger at John's public criticism. But Herod himself was conflicted. According to the account in the Gospel of Mark, Herod feared John. He believed him to be a righteous and holy man. He listened to him, even though he was troubled by his words. So John remained alive, in prison, but alive. Everything changed at a birthday celebration. Herod held a banquet for nobles, military commanders, and leading men of Galilee. This was not just a party. It was a public political gathering. Reputation mattered here. Authority mattered. At the height of the celebration, a young girl entered and danced before the guest. She pleased Herod so much that he made a reckless promise. He swore an oath before everyone present. Whatever she asked, he would give it to her, even up to half of his kingdom. The girl left the room. She went to her mother. Her mother was Herodias. She already knew what she wanted. Herodias told her daughter exactly what to ask for. Not wealth, not land, not status. She wanted a head. The girl returned to the banquet, and she made the request plainly. The head of John the Baptist on a platter. In that moment, the celebration ended. The Gospels record that Herod was deeply distressed. He did not want to execute John, but two things trapped him: the oath he had sworn and the guests who had heard it. To refuse the request would make him look weak, make his promise meaningless, and damage his authority in front of political and military elites. So he chose reputation over restraint. He issued the order immediately. In the prison, the executioner carried out the command. John the Baptist was beheaded. No trial, no defense, no formal charge. His head was placed on a platter. It was brought into the banquet hall and given to the girl, who then gave it to her mother. John's disciples came and took his body. They buried it. The banquet ended. Herod kept his reputation intact for the moment, but the Gospels record that he never escaped the shadow of that decision. Later, when he heard of the rising fame of Jesus, Herod feared the worst. He said, "John, whom I beheaded, had been raised." The execution that protected his image had left him haunted by it. This was not a judicial killing. It was a political execution triggered by personal resentment and carried out to preserve authority, ordered in the middle of a party. No court, no charges, no process. Just a promise and a reputation at stake. History remembers the man who lost his head, but it also remembers why. John the Baptist was not executed for a crime. He was executed because a ruler made a promise he didn't want to break. Power protected its image, and a life was the cost. If you value historically grounded true crime stories like this, subscribe to A Veil of Crime. And if you'd like to help support the channel and keep these cases researched and documented, you can support the channel through the Buy Me a Coffee link on the channel page, because history remembers what justice often doesn't.